Well, hi again, everybody. Today I'm going to take a PC that I found out on the curb. The way it works in this neighborhood is if somebody has something they want to throw away that maybe has some value, they're not sure, but they don't want it anymore, they put it out the day that trash is going to be picked up, or maybe the day before, and sometimes the neighbors, like me, will go along and pick something up, which is exactly what I did with this Dell PC. It is a Dell Optiplex 745, and I'll show you the specs up on the screen right now. Depending on what it has in it, it may be a quite usable machine. So what I'm going to do is open it up and blow it out, first of all, using my air compressor. You have to open it up by pulling this little latch on top. You have to pull this back, and when you do that, it pops the doors open. Actually, just one door, it looks like. A bit on the dusty side, but we'll see how it goes. And then inside here, this is what we have. A heck of a lot of dust, some masking tape. And get that out of the way now. I don't want that in there. That could cause a problem. It has a video card of some sort. I have to look that one up once we get it all cleaned out. It has a standard Dell motherboard. Looks like they had some drives in here that they pulled out. So I'm not sure what that's about. So I got some research to do. It looks like the hard drives have been pulled out. So there are no hard drives in this PC. It has 4 DIMMs, and this giant thing is the cooler mechanism that's wrapped around the processor. It's got a fan in the front here. So let me blow it out first, and then we'll see how it goes. It's got a video card. It's got the standard Dell motherboard. Looks like it's got a DVD. You know, whether that's a DVD writer or not, I'm not sure. Power supply, Dell, all Dell. And this is the cooler with a fan in the front wrapped around the processor chip. As I recall, these Dell PCs are quite tricky in terms of how they lay it out. Very proprietary in nature. Let me blow it out first. I got my air compressor all ready to go. Get all this dust out of here. Well, I think that's good enough for now. So now I think it's dust-free enough to bring inside. I'll throw a hard drive on it, connect it to the power, and hopefully I don't need my fire extinguisher, which is always handy. Well, now I have it inside here, and taking a closer look at it, I see that it has, really it's primarily SATA. Now, I doubt that it's SATA 2, it's more like the SATA 1, the slower speed one, but looks like all the power connectors are SATA. It's got all data connectors. It has one power connector for a Molex, but it has a plastic cover on it. I guess they didn't need to use it when they built this, and I don't expect I will change that either. But everything else looks intact. It has 4 memory DIMMs in it. It has a video card. That's really not a sophisticated one, but it splits it into 2 DVIs. So it allows you to put 2 monitors on this thing. A lot of USBs. It has the standard thing you would see in Dell, the very customized processor and motherboard, that configuration and the cooler configuration, which is all Dellish, as they say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it up. I've got a mouse and keyboard over here. I don't see any capability of putting in a regular PS2 keyboard, so it's probably all USB. And I'll connect it to the 2 front panel USB connectors that I saw. Okay. Hasn't been powered on yet, at least for me. So we'll see what happens here. It doesn't have a hard drive. It looks like this blue SATA connector was where the hard drive was. I'm not sure what this one was. If it had a second hard drive or whatever. There is no hard drive in it, which is a very common practice of people throwing a PC away. They're generally told to take the hard drive out and then go ahead and destroy it somehow, usually seeing the business end of a hammer. So that's probably what happened. But let me see, what else do I need? I need a video connector. What I decided to do is for the DVI, I have a DVI to VGA adapter here. So I'm going to use that. And then this goes into a VGA to HDMI adapter. Hopefully the dual adapters don't cause any problems for it. It looks like it draws its power through a USB connector. So this is just for power for this little box that's on this converter. So I'll connect that into one of the back USBs, and I'll plug this into, it doesn't really matter as far as I know. When I used to work with these dual DVI connectors, very common in business, I'll go ahead and just pick one and plug this in here, and then I'll need power. So what I have here is I have my standard power connector with my meter on it, where I can check if there's any load load. It has the watt meter. So this way I can see if this thing is drawing too much power as I try to connect it up. So what I'll try to do is, let me open up video capture and I'll try to capture this. I'll connect up the power supply and I'll plug this in, see what we get. There's a power switch on the front. Well, it looks like it just already came on, and it's having trouble syncing with this. It says hit F2 to hit setup. Let me hit the F2. See if I can get into the BIOS. And it's in the BIOS. That's a big step forward. Wow. That means that basically the CPU is functional. Okay, what do we got here? System info. It's Optiplex 745, as the front of the case says. BIOS was last updated in 06, probably when it was first manufactured, to be honest with you. When we go to processor info, it's a Intel EM4T. It actually says it's 64-bit. So I'll try to load Windows 10 64-bit and see what happens. It's got 2 megabytes of cache. It's 2.8 gigahertz. See here, it's got PCI. It's got 4 PCIs, and it sees the VGA connected into slot 1. That's the VGA adapter there. And the other ones are empty. Date and time is way off, but I'm not going to bother setting those right now because chances are that battery, the motherboard battery there, the usual, the 2032 3.5 volt battery is probably dead. So if this works out, I'll actually replace it. I got plenty of those. Boot sequence. Hey, it can boot from the USB. That's a big deal because now I'll be able to try to load Windows from USB. Drives. It can support a diskette drive. That's a floppy diskette. I did see a cable here that I thought was it. I didn't count the pins, but it looks like a floppy disk. That's less than 40 connectors, which is what an IDE would be, but 30, I think it's 34 for a floppy. Let me see, and you have to go over to it and see which is which. No floppy. SATA 0 has nothing in it. That's the blue cable. SATA 1, there's nothing in it. Oh, SATA 2 has the DVD. So it's the one that's connected up to the DVD. It does see it there. Sorry, that was SATA 1. SATA 2 has nothing. SATA 3 has nothing. SATA 4 says it has a serial ATA. I think that just is a more definition of the type because it's been turned off, whereas the other ones were on probably. So those last 2 SATA ports have been turned off because they don't exist. This only has 4 SATA connectors on the motherboard. And it doesn't say what type of SATA it is, which means it's probably SATA 1, not SATA 2, so it's going to be on the slow side. And that's about it. Let me see. Onboard devices. All the rest of this is pretty standard. It tells you what the post sequence is when it does the boot up. What I'll do now is I'll lay it flat, and I have a hard drive here. This hard drive was one I took out of my salvage PC in my first video. I have since used it a couple of times, as you may have seen, temporarily. And now I've cleared it off completely, so I believe so. So there should be nothing on here right now when I put it in there. But I'll go ahead and put it into one of those 3.5-inch bays there. Looks like I need a special drawer to it, which I don't have. So chances are I'll have to jury rig something in order to get it to stay there. For now, I don't have to worry about that, just to see if it works and can load up. But I'll lie it flat, and then we'll see if I can put this drive in, and then I'll load Windows, or at least try to. See what happens. Okay, got the hard drive here. Let's see if I can get this in here somehow. I'm just going to put it upside down for now so I can get to the connectors a little bit easier. Let me see what the keys are at. Yeah, that's the right part. The keys on that one. What about this one? And the keys on that one. So upside down would probably work best. I'm going to just lay it in here for now. There is no way to screw it in. So I'm just going to lie it on the bottom for now and connect up the connectors. I'll do the power first. That, and then I'll put the SATA data cable in like that. And if I decide to put a drive in here, I'm going to have to set up a bracket or something in here in order to support it properly inside this cabinet. So let me go ahead and get a copy of the Windows 10. I'm going to try the 64-bit first. Sometimes these things say 64, but they're really not. So I'll try the 64 first, and we'll see if that boots up. And if not, then I have a 32-bit as well of Windows 10. Here's a 64-bit to start with. And I have the 32 ready if I need to. So this will just go into one of the USB connectors in the back here. We'll power it on and see what it looks like. Okay, I have it now plugged in. Let's see what we got here. Is it booting from the USB? You know what, let me hit F12 because that's the boot menu. Okay, it's booting up. I was able to get it down to the USB and told it to boot from the USB. It looks like Windows is, the installer, at least from the USB stick, is now booting up. Let's see how this goes. Okay, that didn't work out too well with the 64-bit version, so trying again with the 32-bit. Let's see if that works. Okay, at least it's starting into Windows again. Last time it was going and then it just went blank and rebooted. Sometimes it says 64 and sometimes it's not. Let's see how this one works out. Okay, there we go. We got a lot further along. So let me proceed with next. We want to install now. Okay, now it's up to the point of asking for a key, but I'm going to say I don't have a key. And I'm going to install Windows Home on this one. I have a few extra licenses. See what happens. If I'm lucky, maybe it's got Windows 7 installed before that the database knows about. We'll find out. Okay, I'm accepting this. I'm going to do a custom install just to take a look at what we got. Yeah, it's an empty hard drive there, but it does see it. That's good. Sees the full size. That's what I was worried. Sometimes if it's messed up, it doesn't see the proper size. So I'm going to tell it, go ahead, install on that one. This is probably going to take a while. This thing is running on the slow side, as you could imagine. So once it kicks off, I may be jumping ahead here. While it's proceeding, it's getting all the files down from the Microsoft website at this point, about 73% complete. So I guess we just have to wait a little bit longer. This thing is not the fastest in the world, plus it's going to a very slow hard drive as well. Well, it looks like it's actually doing a reboot at this point. That's pretty good. Let's see what happens here when it reboots. See if it boots from the hard drive or not. Okay, it looks like it's doing something here. What's it doing? Strike F1. Try that. I had to power the whole thing off again and power it back on again. For some reason it keeps having me hit F1 because it sees something configured with the hardware wrong. It looks like it is booting Windows though. I hear the hard drive cranking away. It's a very slow hard drive, that's for sure. An old one. Okay, there we go. What do we got? This is probably not a system meant for running Windows, so I may wind up using this for some other operating system like Linux. I don't like the amount of power that it draws. As I look at the power meter, it's on the hefty side. It's drawing about 100 watts of power, and it doesn't have a lot in it. Now the older computers tend to draw more, but I don't feel like wasting 100 watts. It'd be cheaper just to salvage this thing potentially. We'll see how it goes going forward. Well, that's progressed pretty well. It's gone ahead and starting all the services in Windows 10. Let's see how much further it gets. Continues to be the case. I have to hit F1 every time it reboots in order to proceed. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'll have to troubleshoot it later. But it seems like once they do that, it proceeds on to load Windows successfully. So we'll see if this one comes up now. Okay, now it's actually made it into the basic configuration for Windows 10. So I will go ahead and answer all these questions real quick. I'll probably zoom through a lot of this. Okay, I'll use the same name I always use. The usual, we're getting everything ready for you. This may take a while, so I'll be skipping ahead for sure. Oh, we finally made it. Okay, we're into the desktop. Settings, personalization, themes. It's a long way to get the icons that I want. It's always the case with this. Desktop icon settings. I don't want to see computer. Oh, I want control panel. Click that one. Apply that. Okay. The resolution is messed up right now through the screen capture, but it is working. I'll have to do some more configuration with it later. But at this point, let me see if I can connect the network and see if it identifies the network. There is an adapter here. So I'll plug in the network adapter and see what we get. Does it connect to my switch? And it does. What's the speed? The speed looks like 1 gig. I'll say yes to that, let it be discoverable. And does the internet come up? Let me see. I want Microsoft Edge. What has this got? Can I get to Yahoo? Let me see. And we do. We do. So this computer is up and running. It's not the fastest computer I've ever seen, but that's understandable. Let me see what the performance is here. Let me look at the task manager. I can hear the hard drive clicking away. Performance, what are we looking like? Ethernet's running pretty rapidly here. It's probably getting updates from the Ethernet. The disk is only 3%. The memory is 1.7 out of gigabyte out of 3 are being used, so it's 2/3 of it. So the memory is a heavy use right now. CPU is running at 100%. CPU is not that fast, and that's why I hear the thing chomping away. Windows updates, settings, let me go there. Missing important updates. Okay, makes sense. I didn't update this thing. It's got the 32-bit version of Windows 10. It's checking for updates right now. And it's found a few. Is it automatically updating? It's pending download. One is downloading there. It's pending download and a few more. So this may take a while. I'll jump ahead. Okay, it's gone through the first reboot on doing the updates to Windows, the standard update Windows site that they provide. So hopefully after this we're going to have only a few more to go. Windows 10 is usually pretty quick about this, but you never know. Okay, let me go ahead and log into this. The hard drive is still cranking away like mad. Let me take a look at Windows updates again. Settings and updates and security. Okay, let's check for more updates, see what we got. Okay, so we're finally up to date. So I'll leave it at that. All done. There is a new BIOS. What I'm going to show on the screen right now is some updates that I saw on the Dell site, including a new BIOS that's several years younger than the one that's currently on this PC. Looks like it's 11 June 2012. So what I'll probably do is go ahead and update that at some point. Okay, I just wanted to show the final view of the inside of the case. Now that I've straightened things out a little bit, I basically secured the hard drive on top of a box that fits exactly into that spot, and I've taped it in place for now. I'll see if I can work out putting some spacers or some standoffs to actually be able to screw this into the cage. Not sure about that yet, but there's no reason for me to worry about that. Did a little bit of cleanup, got some cable management done. I put a couple of holders here. Not much you can do with these older cases. There's no way to go to the back of it. So just make sure it stays out of the way and avoids accumulating too much dust. And that's about it. So as you can see here, we're ready to go. We got our little Dell PC all set up and ready to store. Everything's working on it. Now that the BIOS has been adjusted so that the floppy no longer exists, then we're good. I also removed some stuff. I removed the actual floppy cable that was in there. This 34-pin cable, that's gone. And an extra SATA data cable that was just sitting there connected to nothing. Maybe they had 2 hard drives at one point. No need for it, so we're ready to go. Well, that concludes the basic cleaning and testing of this PC I basically found in the garbage that somebody wanted to throw out. It's not fast, but it could be used as a server. When I talk about a server, like a Linux server or something like that. Possibly even a Sigma NAS server. There's enough room in here to put at least 3 more hard drives in it. So it would work very well for that. Other than that, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Probably just sit in the garage in case I need a PC to experiment with in the future. And it has Windows 10 fully installed, or at least the home edition of it. Hopefully you got something out of this video and it helps you in some way. You see how you can actually work on something like this, and it's not anything worth throwing away necessarily. Although in the past I have thrown away PCs as good as this one. I'll have to be totally honest with you. So if you got something out of it, do me a favor. Consider subscribing to my channel. My head will pop up here in a moment. Click on it, follow along, and subscribe. That would really be helpful and help my channel grow. Well, thanks for watching, and until the next time, take care.